Hey Stitch, how's it going? Hopefully you can hear me. I'm actually still just setting some stuff up and still testing things out. I made a little few adjustments here and there. So now I can see, let me actually just pop this out. That's a lot better. I can see what everyone's typing on the stream. Everyone else can as well. Extra cheese. How's it going? Sounds good. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for dropping in. I actually wasn't expecting people to drop in this fast. That's good news. That means people are actually getting notifications for whenever I post a video or go live. That's good. Let me see. Hopefully everybody is doing okay today. We're gonna start back up where we left off from the last live video. Finished like half of it, but there's still like another half of this part one that we're gonna go over. I really don't have the patience to sit through all these talks and listen to every single thing that they're saying, and I don't think anybody else does either. I'm happy I don't have to listen to talks anymore like this. So what I'm going to do is just kind of skip through and find certain parts that I think are interesting and go from there. And I was also thinking about probably trying to look at other YouTube channels and see what other content other XJW channels have posted and check those out and just do like I don't even want to even call it a reaction, because it's not a reaction to it. It's just kind of like watching their YouTube channel and just seeing what they're talking about. It's a lot of the other YouTube channels out there, they have a lot of interesting content. Sometimes it sparks some good discussion too. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and mess with a few more things, and then I'll press play in just a moment. Alrighty, I think we're all set. Let's go ahead and start it. Let me know if you guys can hear it, if it's loud enough.
Peace can be a challenge. Because of our imperfections and the complexities of life, we have to work for peace, even under normal conditions. But pursuing peace becomes a greater challenge when it's one-sided. Difficulties arise in the family and in the congregation when one person
No, we're
pursues
not opening
peace,
upward prayer.
but the other does not. For example,
He doesn't
in the
approve of this
congregation,
stream.
perhaps we have a friend who has a problem with another
Or any
friend in the
XJW
congregation,
streams for that
but
matter.
does not do anything to reconcile the situation. Or in the family, a Christian mate may have difficulty pursuing peace if his or her spouse does not apply Bible principles. Well, what do we do then?
Hey Javier,
Well, in those situations,
how's it
the
going?
Bible account
I appreciate
of
it. Thank you.
Abigail
Thank
may
you
be
for
helpful.
stopping by.
I invite you to turn
It
in
really
your
does mean a
Bibles to
lot.
1
Thank you guys so
Samuel,
much for hanging out with me.
Chapter 25, and here we're introduced to Abigail and her husband Nabal.
I really don't want to hear
And you
about
notice here in
Abigail
verse
that much.
3, Nabal. Now let
You know
this
what? Most of the time when I watch these things, I kind of just like to skip ahead and watch the dramatization, because that's the most interesting part.
Abigail's actions calmed David and averted calamity.
Oh, here we go.
You always found a
And consider what was best for Jehovah's name. And that is not always easy to do.
All right, let's keep
But what
going.
was the result? Because she sowed peace, she pursued peace, she reaped peace. How can we benefit from Abigail's example? Why is it important to do so now? Let's look at the following dramatization.
Let me know if the video is loud
Later
enough
on,
for you guys.
when things got even more intense, that's when our peace was really put to the test.
Yeah, but Tim, you always found a way to keep us positive.
Well, I learned a lot about that from my better half. Amy's always had a way of bringing people together. For example, just before the pandemic, there were these two pioneer sisters in our congregation. Becky was energetic, industrious, and fearless in her ministry. And Lena, experienced, self-sacrificing, and such a good Bible teacher.
But they didn't exactly get along.
It is like a soap opera. Just like it.
You ready to go?
A lot of times they have like continuations of old ones too.
It's Becky. She's just such a phantom pioneer.
What a culty looking
We
bunch.
never see her.
How's it going, Donna?
I'm sorry, but she just needs to be more serious about her ministry.
Well, she's been doing metro witnessing and
I know, and LDC too, right? She does plumbing.
Concrete. She does have a lot of energy.
remember when we used to be like that?
I don't know that I was ever like Becky.
No, you weren't. You were Beckier than Becky.
I couldn't keep up with you. Those long service days in your little red car.
That feels like a long time ago.
You know,
What's actually kind of
it
funny
reminds me a lot of you.
is a lot of times
I mean, both
they
of
do
us.
use a lot of the
20
same
years
actors
ago.
for stuff. At least for the movies,
working
I've seen
so
a lot of the
hard,
same people
And
or
she's
something like
made
that.
so many sacrifices for the truth. Just like you have. I think we should get together. The three of us. You should get to know her better. The next week, I had them both over to the house.
Is that a new movie? The Last
And the
Days
more
of Our
those two got to
Lives?
know each other,
I haven't heard of that one.
the closer they became.
You know that proverb, the tongue of the wise is a healing? Amy taught me what that
I just want to go ahead and point out here. I don't know if you guys did cart witnessing or not, but one of the things about cart witnessing is that you literally just stand there majority of the time
when
without
everything
actually.
changed.
Hold up.
The more those two got,
I must have
She's
really
working
skipped something
this.
because that looks like it progressed
the
very
more those two
fast.
got to know each other,
The cart witnessing, all terrible actresses. Yeah, they're not the best. I mean, they didn't go to any school for it. Schooling is frowned upon, so they had to just choose whoever. Basically just chose whoever was walking around at Bethel at the time. Oh, we need you. Yeah, come with us. Into our... I don't know. It costed a lot of money for them to build that studio, right? Where they actually make the movies and have the sets and stuff now. It was like millions of dollars. I'm assuming. Gotta be. All their money goes towards that or CSA cases. One of the two. They love making movies now. They're not even like a literature company. They're a publishing company. They literally just make movies and then protect themselves from lawsuits. That's what the Watchtower organization is. Their best exports. Hey man, they make a good bit of money on that. Oh, they're also a real estate company as well. Forgot about that. Definitely a real estate company. And that might be expanding a little bit further. Like they're probably going to sell some more Kingdom Halls and whatnot because of the whole COVID situation. A lot of people are starting to not want to leave anywhere, and congregations aren't as strong as they were. A lot of people don't want to go back to the hall yet. A lot of people love Zoom, so they could just do everything from home now and then meet up at individual houses, their field service groups, and just go out field service from there, just like how they used to do it There's no reason to really have the halls anymore, and I think they might transition into that after they see how much money they make. They might still have conventions though, because conventions make a lot of money. Conventions make a good bit of money actually, all from just donations. But back to what I was saying, cart witnessing, man, that stuff was horrible. You literally just stand out there. Most of the time, when I did it, it was in a park early in the morning. Like I woke up at like 4, maybe 5, and stood in a park. Some people would walk by like they're going to work, but they wouldn't even look in your direction. They wouldn't want to acknowledge you're even there because they know you try to have a conversation with them. Did not like cart witnessing at all. At least it was easy though. You literally could just stand there and make a whole bunch of hours if you needed some hours.
The closer they became.
You know that proverb, the tongue of the wise is a healing? Amy taught me what that verse really means. Okay, everyone out. When everything changed, and we suddenly found ourselves locked up together, I tried to show that same spirit so that we could stay united. And with Jehovah's help, we did.
When everything changed.
Now, did you notice what our sister did and did not do?
She
could have done nothing.
Is this like going to transition into one of those things where they start having the doomsday prophecies again, and they're like, we're really close, they're gonna start arresting people? Is that what they're trying to transition into? Because that was a pretty dramatic change there. They were out in service and nothing was an issue. Next thing you know, he was in jail.
She could have let
maybe
Lena,
that's the
her
next
service
dramatization.
partner, cultivate those thoughts about Becky. Or Amy could have poured fuel on the situation, maybe agreeing with Lena, or telling a few stories how Becky annoyed her as well. She was careful not to fan the flames with ourselves and the knowledge that we did the right thing.
Grandfather.
Nope.
When Jonathan...
How they sowed and reaped peace. Mephibosheth? Okay.
inherited,
Alright.
Ziba slandered Mephibosheth, saying that he was seeking the kingship for himself. Sad to say, David believed the slander and gave Mephibosheth's land to Ziba. Sometime later,
Cannot believe David believed him.
Mephibosheth met
Come on,
with
David.
King David and
Persecution
explained
complex.
why he didn't show up to travel
Oh yeah,
with him.
definitely.
He told David that Ziba had lied about him.
You you can't win with witnesses. If they get persecuted, they're like, oh, see, Jehovah told us this would happen. And if anything good happens to them, oh, see, Jehovah provides. So either way, it doesn't matter. You're never going to win because it's always a perspective for them that either Jehovah's already going to be right about something or that he provides something. There's no way about it. Like, which that always got kind of annoying too. Or if something bad happened, it was all Satan's fault. Or something good happened, it was always Jehovah who helped that one situation. Which doesn't make any sense because just because something bad happens doesn't mean that that was Satan. Just because something good happens doesn't mean that that was Jehovah. But whatever, though. That's how they operate.
Upon hearing Mephibosheth's side of the story, David now decided that he and Ziba should share the land. Instead of complaining or seeking vengeance, Mephibosheth displayed the spiritual qualities of a peacemaker, and he was willing to be wronged.
What?
He said to
Hold up. I don't know about that one. That one's not fair. How is that fair? Why would anybody be willing to be wronged? That's not how you do things. If anything, Ziba should have been like, oh, wait, you know, I kind of messed up there and did the right thing. Like, that's supposed to be what why is that?
David, as recorded at 2 Samuel chapter 19.
Hold on, let me go back and
As
listen
a
to what he
servant
actually said.
become the victim.
When
I'm gonna
in
listen to the
future
whole 5
a
minutes that
force
he's
for peace
going to
is
talk before he
vitally
gets to that point.
needed,
It was like
we
4
will be
minutes or something.
prepared to provide it. Brother William Malenfant, a helper to the teaching committee, will now consider the next talk of this symposium, How They Sowed and Reaped Peace, Mephibosheth.
Willing to be wronged? That's kind of messed up.
Inherited imperfection. We don't like it, but we all have it. And since imperfection means that everyone is less than perfect, we are bound to be treated unfairly at times, even by fellow Christians.
Okay, unfairly
In rare cases,
by fellow Christians.
one might
Okay.
become the victim of slander or even fraud.
Okay.
Consider with me an account about slander that occurred in the nation of Israel in the days of King David. It's about
Actually, that's very true. That's a very true statement. Gotta get everybody comfortable with being wronged. Let me see here. Okay.
a man named Mephibosheth, who was slandered by a man named Ziba. Examining the way that Mephibosheth handled this matter can be of real help to us to sow peace and to reap peace. Jonathan was Mephibosheth's father, and King Saul was his grandfather. When Jonathan and Saul died, King David gave to Mephibosheth all the land of his grandfather. David assigned Ziba as a servant to take care of the land that he had given to Mephibosheth. Sometime later, a rebellion in David's household forced him to flee from Jerusalem, and Ziba went out to meet David. When David asked Ziba about Mephibosheth and why he didn't come with Ziba to show his support for David, Ziba slandered Mephibosheth, saying that he was seeking the kingship for himself. Sad to say, David believed the slander and gave Mephibosheth's land to Ziba. Sometime later, Mephibosheth met with King David and explained why he didn't show up to travel with him. He told David that Ziba had lied about him. Upon hearing Mephibosheth's side of the story, David now decided that he and Ziba should share the land. Instead of complaining or seeking vengeance, Mephibosheth displayed the spiritual qualities of a peacemaker, and he was willing.
That is so messed up. What if the shoe's on the other foot, though? Like, what if the organization has to be willing to be wronged? Will they accept that? I don't think so. I don't think that's how that works. They want everybody else, the members, to be comfortable being wronged. But when it comes to them being wronged, no, that's not how that works. I'm telling you, these guys are crazy, man. They're trying to, like you said, Donna, get people comfortable with the idea of being wronged so that when the time comes and everyone's going to be wronged, whatever they're going to probably do, I don't know, probably get up and leave and say that, oh, everybody was taken to heaven to be a part of the 144,000. Then they can just say, oh, well, you know, got to be willing to be wronged and whatnot.
To be wronged. He said to David, as recorded at 2 Samuel chapter 19.
That is really lame.
To work for that peace.
Lord, the king.
To work for that.
We're going to just skip ahead.
First time we met David, we were in chains. I'd seen a lot of things during my time as a guard. But nothing
like the peace that you all had. Prison chains may be strong, but we all had something much stronger.
But we had to work for that peace. Right, Phil?
That's right. See, there was a misunderstanding that got blown all out of proportion, and I didn't handle it the best.
That's a crazy way to transition for your friend. We had to work for that piece, right, Phil? Because I know you messed up big time. And then now Phil has to go ahead and explain everything. That's really crazy. How do you do that?
The more I tried to defend myself, the worse it became.
Brothers, there must be some mistake. This isn't true. You know me.
I wasn't prepared for how far I would go.
There's one more announcement. Brother Philip Kim is no longer serving as an elder. That brings our meeting to a close.
The next few months were a real struggle. But when more details came to light, I thought I'd be reappointed. But I wasn't. I couldn't understand why.
Phil, come on.
I felt bitterness growing inside.
So they're trying to draw a comparison between Mephibosheth and Phil now, with him having to be comfortable with being wronged. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like this is not really a good way of handling the situation. Also, too, just because it's in the Bible doesn't mean that it should be used as a good example. Like, I feel like that's almost a bad example. If you look at David's example of him giving the land to Mephibosheth and Zaphith, whatever the other guy's name was, that's not good at all. Like, I don't think that was a good way to handle that. Somebody was clearly wronged, and David could have said it right because he was the king. David could do whatever he wanted. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that wrong to you, Mephibosheth. Here's your land back. But no, David just was like, oh, well, you're just going to split it in half. Wonder if something like that happened to David, how he would feel about it. Really, really crazy, really crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And even Phil right here, like, he's being wronged right now with his privileges being taken away. And then he just has to be okay with it. What happened to righting wrongs? I mean, there's tons of examples in the Bible of righting wrongs the correct way. I don't understand. Why is there such a contradiction there? I don't think that this is really a good example. They're literally just priming people to be comfortable with being wronged. That's what it is. Exactly what it is. Not a beard, a mustache in sight, even though all dudes in the Bible had them. Very true. Don't have any more discernment than anybody else on the street. Forgiving your mortgage, taking your title, and you will pay us every month forever. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Also, too, just like Phil said, there more information came to light, and then he still didn't get reappointed. It's kind of like, okay. If I was Phil, I would already have dipped out by then. I would have looked up 587, 607 and been like, all right, I'm out of here. See you guys. Phil was upset.
Everything became about me, how I felt, what I deserved. It was like a fog that stopped me from seeing what Jehovah deserved.
How does this even translate into what Jehovah deserved? How does this even translate? This makes like no sense. This doesn't translate at all. I don't. This completely contradicts a lot of the things in the Bible. If somebody's wronged, you right the wrong. That's a no-brainer. Probably like one of Jesus' teachings, like you right wrongs. This guy clearly got wronged. It wasn't made right. Same thing with Mephibosheth. And yet we're okay with that because you have to be comfortable being wronged. That's weird to me. I don't get that one. I must have missed this teaching. This must be some new light or something, because I've never heard this one before.
Really needed his help. I found comfort in accounts of Jehovah's servants who were either misunderstood or misjudged, but maintained their loyalty to him. They helped me realize that it's a privilege just to be in Jehovah's organization. Being at peace with my brothers was more important than any appointed position. Without peace, I don't know how we could have managed what was to come.
Man, whatever's to come must be pretty bad. One thing I've always noticed about these dramatizations, if you notice that little piece there beforehand, they always try to set up something else. Like the next little scene they're gonna talk about, they always set it up. That guy just dropped his pencil because his hand has arthritis or something, I'm assuming. And then they're gonna probably talk about him next.
Arthritis bad today?
Oh, I was right, arthritis.
And I'll be your secretary. Just like Barak was to Jeremiah.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Oh, that's Carl there. Carl's gonna talk next. Yeah, I was really stupid this one time. I made a whole bunch of mistakes. I was just not thinking straight, and I should have been okay with being wronged.
The question now for all of us is, how can we imitate the example of Mephibosheth? First of all.
Oh, that is a very good point, extra cheese. Very good point. It's always emotional, because that's the only way they can appeal to anybody. They can't appeal to anybody logically because a lot of it lacks logic. It doesn't make sense. Anybody looking at it would be like, okay, that's not right. That doesn't make any sense. Sometimes even from a biblical standpoint, you could even say, okay, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't go in line with what the Bible says. So they always try to appeal to emotions. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel upset? We're going to channel that into doing what Jehovah wants. And this is what you should do. It's always that way. Always, always, always. 100%.
If you are the victim of minor gossip or rude treatment by someone, why not choose to let it pass and not make a big issue of it? Isn't that what first...
I think that's a little different, though. That's a little different. Like, if somebody's talking about you behind your back, that one's not as bad because most people can see, oh, okay, clearly that person's not doing whatever that person is saying that they're doing, or that person's not as bad as they say that they are. But when you're wronged, that's different. When you're wronged, only people who know about it are the person who did the wrong thing to you and basically you. So all those elders that Phil had to deal with, apparently they didn't think that whatever they did was wrong, but it was, and they never tried to right it. And Phil came to them multiple times to try to right the wrong, and yet they still didn't right it. See, that's a big issue. When someone's talking about you, I mean, you could handle it one way of just letting it glide off your back, or you could come up to them and say, hey, I've been hearing that you've been saying some stuff about me. Let's put an end to that. I mean, you could also think about the example of Jesus too, when Jesus didn't allow, or he allowed everybody to just say whatever they wanted about him because he didn't feel that it was important to try to save his name. But at the same time, that was like multiple people, so it's not like Jesus could go door to door and say, hey, I've been hearing that everyone's been talking negatively about me. I just want to right the wrongs and just tell everybody that this is actually what's going on. That's a waste of time. But if it's just one individual person, there's nothing wrong with going to that one individual person and saying, hey, I've been hearing that you've been talking about me. I don't know and just understand why you're doing that, but could you stop, or let's try to correct this. There's definitely some differences here.
1 Peter 4:8 advises. 1 Peter 4:8 reads, above all things, have intense love for one another. And then it tells us what our love can do. It says, because...
Exactly. They love to blur the lines. And they're doing it just so that they could control the narrative. It's all about, hey, this is how we should be thinking. We should define this way. That's always what it is. They change definitions and stuff too. You gotta be careful of that.
Love covers a multitude of sins. Yes, love covers sins and imperfections if we are willing to let love have its way. But what if you are the victim of a more serious injustice? For example, the brother in the video, he felt that he was a victim of injustice when he was deleted as an elder. He tried to clarify matters, but since he didn't get the response he was hoping for, he became very upset. He lost his peace, and he caused others to lose their peaceful relationship with him. To regain his peace, the brother dug into the scriptures, looking for examples he could benefit from, and he prayerfully looked to Jehovah to help him, so that I may ride on.
I don't know why any of those other elders didn't prayerfully look to Jehovah so that they can see possibly what the brother is talking about. Nope, that's not what they do.
And go with the king. For your servant
Excuse me, I have hiccups. I'm going to skip ahead.
If you're a helper to the service committee, we'll now consider the next talk of this symposium. How they sowed and reaped peace, Paul and Barnabas.
All right, I don't really care for Paul much.
What's the next challenge we'll discuss? Took Mark along and sailed away to Cyprus. What was the problem? These two elders strongly disagreed about whether to take Mark with them on their next missionary tour. Of course, expressing a difference of opinion is not always wrong. Verse 7 of this same chapter reports that the apostles and older men in Jerusalem had an intense discussion that led to a good outcome. In the following dramatization, please notice how an elder sows peace.
But you know, there's more to the story. Phil didn't know just how tense things were between Tim and I.
No idea.
We never talked. I mean,
I'm assuming sideburns are forbidden.
Until it was too late.
Might as well say everything's forbidden.
Look, we need to talk. I think we need to seriously reconsider Phil's qualifications. You know he's not the type of brother that
Enough. Enough about Phil. I know he's your friend. But the body agreed that you're no longer qualified to serve.
Friend? He's worked with us for years.
The body decided unanimously that he should no longer...
I want to just point out that you can see the language that he's using. The words. He said, the body decided. The body decided. See, that's not Jehovah. What's the body? The body of elders all came together and made a decision. They were all men, all came together and made a decision. Not Jehovah. Very interesting.
You pushed them.
Excuse me?
It's enough that we have those outside the congregation putting pressure on us. We do not need more in here.
Seriously think...
The conversation, the argument, it was terrible. We both said things we didn't mean.
And after that, we both handled the situation poorly. We need to make things right.
Immediately after they make up or whatever, they should go to Phil's house and reinstate
It
him.
wasn't easy, but we talked it out.
And we made peace. With Jehovah's help.
Can you imagine what it would have been like in that cell block if we hadn't?
We finally told Phil the whole story. Once we were all roommates.
Wow.
The music is to invoke an emotional response.
In dark, stormy seas, God's people are living in peace.
Well, both of those elders, man, they're not the greatest.
Eyes of faith, we see beyond the clouds, and know that the storm soon will cease. To the ends of the earth, there'll be peace at last. For all
Please tell me that this police officer is not gonna try to get involved now.
Elders, here's the question before all of us now. How can we imitate Paul and Barnabas? First, as usually room for varied points of view. Experienced overseers.
All of them under 45, no elderly elders. I feel like that
know
an
that
elderly. Oh,
preserving
maybe
the
you're right.
peace is
I didn't see
more
any old ones.
intentionally reaped peace. Consider the final talk of this symposium.
Man, it must be a
how they
congregation
sowed
of
and
young
reaped
people.
Peace. Modern day examples.
Ooh, modern day examples, huh?
Brune.
Oh, look who it is.
Will reap
Look
not
who it
only
is.
peace, but will prove to be examples to the flock, just like Paul and Barnabas.
Funnily enough, I actually changed some things on the stream. So whenever somebody subscribes now and I'm live streaming, it'll do a little like special animation, and Stephen Lett will come up and basically do his little thing. It's like a little GIF of Stephen Lett.
Brother Stephen Lett,
Nothing
a
too
member of the
exciting,
governing
but
body, will now consider
whenever
the
people
final
subscribe, that's
talk
what
of this
happens.
symposium, how they sowed and reaped peace. Modern day examples.
Here we go. Seriously fragile body.
How
Oh
do
yeah.
many people react when they see corruption and injustice? They become incensed, and they want to fix the problem. How do they try to fix the problem? By becoming involved in political efforts or social movements that claim to fight corruption and injustice. In contrast, why do Jehovah's Witnesses not get involved in political efforts or social movements? The simple answer, because they've learned from God's Word that the problems of this world cannot be corrected. Ecclesiastes 1:15 says, "What is Brune?" Now first, as Hideo. Born in a remote part of East Timor, he experienced horrible guerrilla warfare during his childhood. Many of his neighbors disappeared or were killed, and he feared he would be next. But some years later, he moved to the capital city and entered a university where he met many other youths with backgrounds similar to his. He became part of a student group that was trying to achieve social change through political action. Many political demonstrations were organized, but most ended up in riots, with many of his friends injured. Some were even killed. But then, through a relative who was studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, as Hideo started to study. Now here's what he said as he started this study. As I studied the Bible,
It's a nice
I
watch.
began to feel that I had never really known love. Despite my rough appearance and disposition, the witnesses treated me with fellow feeling and brotherly affection. Well, soon he was baptized, became a regular pioneer. And he was so happy because now he knew he was truly helping people. He ended his life story with these words. In the past, I felt angry, unloved, and unlovable. But thanks to Jehovah, at last, I have found true love and peace. But now let's talk about Freitha, or which spider. You knock the webs down. Spider builds them right back. Knock them down, builds them back.
I can't listen to him for a long period of time. Let me just skip ahead. Try to find the dramatization, if there even is one. Is there? Oh, yep, there is one. Well, of course there is one. Oops. Whoops.
And what will be the final result? For the answer, let's watch the final dramatization
Here we go.
Of this symposium.
There's one more story to tell. I didn't know it at the time, but seeds of truth were being planted in my heart.
Oh, that's the police officer.
You were all so different. I couldn't understand it. You were prisoners, yes, but you felt free. Truly free. After you were released, it became clear to me that you have God's blessing. And I wanted to know why. Phil helped me find the answer.
All this guy had to do, which he had infinite access to the internet, was type in Jehovah's Witnesses on Google, and he would have been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't learn from these guys. Super easy. But unfortunately he didn't do that, which is weird because most people nowadays, whatever they do, the first thing they do is always Google whatever. They're interested in something, they Google it. Always. What's the first thing that comes up when you Google stuff or Google that? Okay. Okay, the website, of course. Got the wiki. And then all this as well. I don't know if they'll see these, but they might see stuff like that. But they will look up stuff like this. They might even do this one topic here. What weird things. And then after everyone reads these couple sentences, they're like, ooh, nope, not for me. Not for me. I like my Christmas, so. Oh, this is a good one. What happens if they break a rule? What is this? What? Oh, that's on the wiki too. Look at that. That is on the wiki. People would definitely be searching and then find this. What happens if they break a rule? This is like one of the main things. Just one of these actors disfellowshipped or dissociated. These videos will be erased by. Oh yeah, they do that. Same thing with the books.
And you will know the truth.
They get rid of the books too.
And the truth will set you free. Phil encouraged me to make the truth my own. Though I had real trouble at first. With all the turmoil going on at the time, the idea of being peaceable and waiting on God's kingdom, it was hard to grasp.
Hey, how's it going, Linda? Welcome in.
But with Jehovah's help, and the patience of these good people. I was baptized before the start of the Great Tribulation.
Oh, that's the route they're going. Before the Great Tribulation happened, this all happened.
Joseph.
Is
during
that
our
an
time in
attic?
prison, the story of
Is
your
that an
life.
attic? Did they change
your
it?
time in
Did they change it from a basement to an attic? Let me see. Yeah, that's an attic. That's definitely an attic.
Joseph, during our time in
Good
prison.
to see you again.
the
Thank
story
you. I
of your
appreciate it.
life, Your time in
Thank you for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. That goes to everybody. I know I've said that a couple times, but really do thank everybody for coming in, stopping by.
prison, and how Jehovah was always with you became a real source of strength for us. I remember one day, Carl said, what did you say?
I said, one day we'll have a meal with Joseph, and we'll say, thank you.
And here we are.
Really, it's I who should thank you. Each and every one of your stories touches my heart. You know a lot about my life, but would it be alright if I shared a few more stories?
Please, we have so many questions.
Can you tell us about Egypt?
What was Pharaoh really like?
Dreams. We gotta talk about those dreams.
You do have many questions, and I have many details to share. And thanks to our God Jehovah, we have all the time we need.
Look at Joseph, man.
What a touching video. If we wholeheartedly sow peace, we'll save ourselves and those who listen to us.
Oh boy. Is this the ending song? Yep, that's it. Alright, let's see here. Is there a part 2 here? Here it is. I want to see some more about that attic stuff. Like, where are the persecution videos at? That's what I want to see. I've always loved the persecution videos.
For life now. Is it realistic to
My
believe
man
that
Kenneth
you can be a
Cook.
friend with God? If until now you've answered no to that question, please consider this. The lives of millions of people today prove that friendship with God is possible. Their lives prove that we can find a peaceful and meaningful life now, as well as hope for an everlasting and peaceful future. If you desire that for yourself and others, we urge you to listen to this scriptural talk. We emphasize the need to listen because many people ignore that important question, that is, can you be a friend with God? Why is it that many...
Oh yeah, they definitely have to do that. Can't have him wearing different clothing. They always like to do stuff like that, where they always have like a Bible character sitting around the table, and nobody knows that that's a Bible character until the rest of the people are like, man, it's great to talk to you, Abraham. Then Abraham's like, yeah, it was great talking with you guys. And you're just like, oh, that's Abraham. I had no idea. They did it a lot. It's always kind of funny. Side note, if you guys feel free, or if you would be so kind to, definitely like the live stream video, because I guess it helps it with the algorithm get put up at the top. So if anybody's looking for any XJW content or something, this stuff gets put up. Also, if anybody's looking up any Jehovah's Witness content stuff, this stuff also gets put up. And I would like them to watch this if they're looking for Jehovah's Witness content, because then they'll get the XJW commentary over it. So really would appreciate it if you guys could like the video.
put such an important question out of their mind? There are a number of reasons. For example, some believe that God is impersonal or unknowable, or that he does not exist and that he's not interested in humans. They are taught that God is a mystery and that he is cruel, harsh, and demanding. Many religious leaders claim that God will punish bad people forever in a place of torment. Do you feel drawn into friendship with a God like that? Who in their right mind would? Still other people, after seeing all of the injustice and suffering in the world, have concluded that God must be dead or that he never existed at all. And then there are those who believe that they have done too many bad things in their life to ever be a friend of God. Do any of those causes for doubt or concern apply to you? If so, please listen carefully to the following 4 key points that may help you to see that friendship with God is truly possible. We will then develop each one. First, we'll look at how sin separates us from God. Second, we'll look at how God has taken the initiative to heal the breach and bring obedient humans back into friendship with him. Then, we'll examine what we can do to become God's friend in an everlasting way. And finally, we will consider how friendship with God brings peace now and in the future. So, for our first point, what is it that separates us from God? In a word, sin. Why does sin separate us? Because perfection.
Just going to skip ahead here.
And human history shows this to be. Sins have made him hide his face from you. Separated from God, it says. And they rejected God's friendship. All men, because they had all sinned. He treats others as his friends. For example, regarding the man Abraham.
This is one thing I just realized, actually. I mean, I've kind of noticed it before, but it just kind of jumped out at me. So first he talks to everybody and says the reason why you can't draw close to God is because of sin. And then basically he starts to go into the points as to how you can actually draw close to God by doing the right things. And that's when the Jehovah's Witness-y parts start coming in. And he gives you this is what you should be doing. Follow these steps and you'll be drawn close to God. So it almost like seems like a give and take, where he takes away how you, or kind of almost demeans you a little bit, and says, but if you do these things, you'll be better. So it makes people want to actually strive to do those things, especially if they don't know anything about witnesses or the Bible. They'll gladly do whatever they say.
Abraham. The Bible book of James says in chapter 2 and verse 23, his favor and blessed peace with him. In fact, he appeals to us to was an unparalleled act of love. As we now read 1 John chapter 4 and verse...
I'm going to keep going ahead here. He is going off.
If you have a house plant, you know that it doesn't
This is part
grow
2,
on
right?
its own. You have to water it regularly and keep it in an environment that helps it.
Okay.
Interactive Bible, and avoid friendship with people who ignore or mock God's standards. God's must be like. Do so. Just a few of Jehovah's many out.
Okay, here we go.
To build a friendship with God.
Have you ever wanted to ask God, who are you? Where are you? Do you care about me? You are not alone. For centuries, people everywhere have felt the need to know their Maker. Imagine a woman who has never known her father. All her life, she has been told lies that her father abandoned her. But deep inside, she knows it's not true. One day, she receives a letter from her father. She learns that he is alive and that unbeknown to her, he had been reaching out to be part of her life since the day she was born. The daughter learns who her father is. And eventually, she finds him. They learn about one another and build a strong bond until they're inseparable friends. The Bible is like a group of letters from our Heavenly Father. As we read the Bible, we learn how to talk to God, how He responds, and the many ways He shows His tender care. The Bible can help us to do something we may never have thought possible. Be God's friend. That friendship starts by learning the name of your Heavenly Father and new friend, and God tells us His name. You whose name is Jehovah. You alone are the Most High.
Is that an old Bible?
Jehovah guarantees that if you draw close to Him, He will draw close to you.
Are you willing to put forth the effort needed to accept His invitation and become His friend? Past wrongs.
Let's see here.
Then imitating His outstanding.
This is
You can find interactive
an interesting part 2. Okay.
That God.
I thought that was going to be a little bit longer, but I guess that was just all Kenneth Cook. They're trying to really make that guy the #1 hero of the governing body members. Since he's the youngest one, I think they're really trying to like push him. So that's crazy though. So this is a Sunday morning. Then where's the afternoon? That's crazy. Let's see. Friday morning. Okay, Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. Oh, I see. We got the drama here. I'm trying to think back. Like, what was my favorite drama back when I was in? I really liked that Jesus one. The Jesus drama was really good. That probably was my favorite one. Ooh, we're not listening to that. No, thank you. Wow, this is long.
His people in the past.
Oh, here we go.
So when
Robert
he can
Lucioni.
even control and change factors to.
We now invite you to watch part 2 of the feature Bible drama, Jehovah Guides Us in the Way of Peace.
So when he prophesies that he'll lead his people to real, lasting peace in the future, this isn't a prediction. It's a guarantee.
The prophecies given to Daniel clearly show that God's kingdom will without a doubt bring lasting peace for all mankind.
They're doing a different take over here on video production. Oh, 605.
I found a man from the exiles of Judah who could make known the interpretation to the king.
Uh-oh. Nebuchadnezzar.
Can you really make known to me the dream that I saw and its interpretation?
This is your dream.
What if Daniel just made all that stuff up? Yeah, there are beards everywhere.
The prophetic portions of the book of Daniel built faith
Tons
by
and
showing
tons
that
of beards.
Jehovah knows the course of history centuries, even millenniums in advance. While portions of these prophecies were fulfilled in Daniel's time, many of the details are being fulfilled right down to our day.
Man, it'd be a real shame if somebody got the dates wrong.
So as we discover the significance of these prophecies, we're excited about what lies ahead. And our confidence grows as we discern how Jehovah has been leading his people all along.
In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed.
The divine dream that Daniel interprets for King Nebuchadnezzar constitutes a prophecy crucial for the lasting peace of mankind. A promise from Jehovah to set up a kingdom that would be vastly superior to earthly kingdoms. History has shown us how every type of human government imaginable has failed. So, how would Jehovah's government come? When would it arrive? These were questions Daniel himself likely had.
605.
Jehovah is a revealer of secrets. He would eventually answer these questions in due time. As a diligent student of the scriptures, the prophet Daniel had full faith and confidence in Jehovah's ability to schedule events and bring them about. And now likely in his 90s, Daniel was particularly interested in prophecies regarding the restoration of his beloved city, Jerusalem.
When 70 years of Babylon are fulfilled, I will turn my attention to you, and I will make good my promise by bringing you back to this place.
Jeremiah's prophecy had given Daniel hope because it indicated the Jews would soon return to their homeland of Judah and rebuild Jerusalem along with its temple. Now, it makes sense that Daniel would be interested in the restoration of the temple, because from the time of King Solomon, the temple in Jerusalem was the world center for worship of Jehovah. So it was very important to the Jews.
In the scriptures, the temple was often called the house of Jehovah. Now, after Jehovah allowed young Daniel and the rest of the Israelites to be taken captive to Babylon, the city of Jerusalem and the temple were destroyed. So naturally, a God-fearing man like Daniel would be interested in seeing the temple rebuilt. Again, as a man of faith, Daniel supplicates Jehovah.
Oh, Jehovah, do hear. Do forgive. Oh, Jehovah, do pay attention and act. Do not delay.
Message. He gave Daniel insight into something of far greater significance.
Daniel was told when God's people could expect the arrival of the foretold Messiah. The Messiah would be the ruler who would make it possible for obedient humans to regain the blessing of perfect life, free from sickness, free from death.
The Messiah would pave the way for lasting peace for mankind.
This is like a drama
What a strengthening message for Daniel to receive.
in between commentary.
And he likely had some questions. The angel told Daniel that Jerusalem and its temple would be rebuilt before the Messiah arrived.
Oh, they're
Yet,
actually not going to show the angel.
Jerusalem and the temple were in shambles. How would they rebuild it? And who would...
Free, and secondly, financing the rebuilding of their temple in Jerusalem.
Challenges.
I'm going to skip ahead here.
Enemies of Judah sought to sabotage the building of the temple, attempting to disrupt the peace. Initial attempts to halt the building progress failed. However, eventually these enemies succeeded in having an official ban placed on the temple building work. What was the problem here? It appears the Jews let fear of man stop the building work after about 14 years of constant opposition. Now there's a bigger picture at play here. Remember, Daniel's prophecy foretold that Jerusalem and its temple would be rebuilt before the Messiah arrived. Yet with the work halted, the temple remained unfinished. What would that mean for the coming of the Messiah? Jeshua and Zerubbabel needed guidance. This is where Jehovah steps in to provide encouragement, first through the prophet Haggai.
And inaugurated the Persian king and
This is a very long
These
history lesson.
opposers threatened the Jews.
That's it. With rebuilt walls and a rebuilt temple, physically the city was in good condition. However, about 12 years later, Nehemiah returned to Shushan. During his prolonged absence, the spiritual state of the Jews deteriorated. It was so sad, as many in Israel fell back into bad practices. Some in the priesthood, including High Priest Eliashib, no longer took their responsibilities seriously. Therefore, Jehovah raised up the prophet Malachi to counsel the negligent priests.
But Eliashib, he took our storeroom, emptied it of our provisions. He gave it to Tobiah to use as a dining hall.
In addition to no longer providing financial support, the people started conducting business on the Sabbath.
What are you selling today? Only the best quality fish from Tyre.
They were marrying foreign women.
I'm marrying Gisla today. Gisla.
Consider themselves to be Jesus' brothers. Yeah, according to what he promotes us. Yep, they're family, but not us. It's actually an interesting way to think about it. I've never thought about it that way. I hate to say it, but I think I might have to stop right here. Let's see. Yeah, it's been about a little over an hour. And time kind of got away from me for a second there. Let's see. Apparently, yeah, they did speak English. I'm going to go ahead and stop right here for now and most likely pick it back up a little bit later on this week. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And take care. Most likely it might be sometime like around Wednesday or probably this weekend coming up. But I'll be sure to send out a notification. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but I really do appreciate you guys.